I named this channel Drastic Measures as I planned on discovering some of the important questions of our time and give you all a laugh while I'm doing it. For example, how many times in one debate can Nadir Ahmed dodge a simple question by Apostate Prophet to explain what the lamps are as described in chapter 67 of the Quran? If you enjoy this video, like, subscribe, and leave me a comment on what you would like to see measured next. And that doesn't have to be limited to Islam. You can suggest anything you like and I'll consider it.
The Quran says that there are lamps in the nearest sky for beautification and also as protection thrown at rebellious devils. So I want to ask Nadir Ahmed here, what exactly are these lamps then? What exactly are these lamps which Allah placed into the nearest heaven as beauty and also as protection against rebellious devils? What exactly are these lamps?
You see, he keeps going on about the missiles, that the lamps. What are the lamps? You know, I don't have a problem talking to you about that, Apostate Prophet, but I came here to see where in the Quran does it challenge documented scientific fact. As I have shown you, a good job. You did try to produce one article. We can talk about what those lamps are, but that's really not germane to this topic tonight.
What are the lamps? Nadir Ahmed, please answer this question in your own time, but what exactly are the lamps?
Okay, and also, if you notice, he brought up a lot of arguments, things like about the sun stopping, and I think he brought up the sun cannot overtake, eclipse, and all that. Please keep in mind, if I am not addressing those, it's only because a matter of time constraints. There's only so much I can actually answer in this short period of time.
What exactly are the lamps? When the Quran describes that there are lamps with which Allah beautifies the nearest sky, and these lamps are also thrown at rebellious devils, what exactly are these lamps?
You are right. I'm running away from the lamps issue. That's because you've thrown so much at me. I'm trying to play catch up, so I'm prioritizing what could be the most important thing for me to talk about. So yeah, actually a lot of what you presented tonight, unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to address that. So I will take lamps and I'm going to push it off to the side again.
Again, I want to ask Nadir Ahmed, please answer the question. What exactly are the lamps with which Allah beautified the sky and which are thrown as missiles at rebellious devils? Thank you.
Again, going back to the lamps, I'm going to push it off to the side because you raised more. You threw a lot at me, so I have to first, prioritize all the arguments.
Dear Nadir Ahmed, please answer the question. What exactly is the lamp? What exactly are those lamps that the Quran describes when it says they are beautified and used as missiles?
I'm going to brush aside, put lamps to the side because there's more important issues which we need to discuss.
Dear Nadir Ahmed, what exactly are the lamps in the Quran when it describes that there are lamps in the sky which are beautified in the nearest heaven and also used as missiles thrown at rebellious devils? What are those lamps?
Yeah, so as you can see, I've been ducking this whole thing about lamps, throwing it aside. Why? Because there's nothing inside science, in documented scientific evidence, which it contradicts. But he wants an information because according to him, he doesn't like it. That's why I've been throwing it low on the order of priorities, because he's blasted me with so many points. The more important things are the things which could which could contradict science in any way. So yes, so lamps could be any kind of celestial bodies. You've got satellites, you've got planets, you've got comets, you've got meteors. It can be a whole wide range of things which it can be.
It might seem like he rescued himself there with a kind of answer, but since he has limited himself to every object in the universe outside of Earth, I'm going to count that as a dodge.
So the Quran describes here in chapter 67, verse 5, and also, by the way, in different forms in other verses, I believe in 2 more verses, that Allah placed lamps into the nearest heaven, or literally the heaven of the earth, Sama ad-Dunya in Arabic. Lamps, he beautified this heaven with lamps, and those lamps are also thrown at rebellious devils. It is very clear that people back then thought that stars are these objects that are in the sky. They beautify the sky, and they are also occasionally thrown at rebellious devils. In fact, we have a hadith in which Muhammad very clearly describes that shooting stars which we falsely call shooting stars, they are meteors. These are stones that enter our atmosphere and thereby burn up, looking like stars to us. That these shooting stars are actually stars thrown at rebellious devils. Unfortunately, Nadir Ahmed has been unable to answer what these lamps here are, if they are not stars.
And he's right. There's a lot of stuff which I did not address. That's because I was juggling.
They moved to the Q&A section with the audience.
What are the lamps? I knew I was going to see this one.
I would like to say I think I have a very nice name for tonight's debate. It should be called "The Silence of the Lamps." I think it would be a very nice title of the debate. But go ahead, Nadir.
Yeah, so as you saw, the whole night I was brushing it aside. Why? Because this does not contradict documented scientific fact. From a scientific point of view, that's perfectly fine to say that there's lamps in space. In fact, here's a NASA website in which they say stars explosive leaves behind a red rose. So according to NASA, there's roses in space. So this is my point that, look, the issue tonight, which I really focused on, I was focusing on the documentation, but without further ado, let me get into what lamps are. So lamps can be any kind of celestial body. It could be meteors, it could be a comet, it can be satellite planets, it could be anything. So, but again, the whole issue is, does this verse contradict science? Absolutely not.
Yeah, I don't think when NASA said there are roses in space, they were being literal with it. I also don't think you're going to find any astrophysicist in the world who will say that stars being hurled at demons to keep them out of heaven is in harmony with science.
If this is not stars according to you, what are those lamps? What are those lamps that beautify the sky and which are also used as missiles?
Before I answer you, I want you to answer me a question. This whole thing about God taking lamps and shooting at the devils, can you accept this is a supernatural claim found in the Quran? Can you accept that?
I don't think that is an acceptable. There would be an acceptable response because the Quran clearly describes something that is visible to us, which is the Quran clearly says. Okay, the Quran clearly says lamps as beautified in the sky, and also thrown at rebellious devils as missiles. So, what are those lamps? I'm just asking the question. What are the lamps?
Yeah. Okay, so you see, you've kind of backed away from the question because science is going to.
I have not. I'm asking the question. What are the lamps?
You guys are interrupting me, guys. Please let me.
What are the lamps?
I will get to that. I will get to that. Please.
How are you?
What are the lamps? Nadir.
Okay, the lamps can be any kind of celestial body. It could be meteorites. It can be comets. It can be asteroids. It could even be something we may not even know. So
those things are not supernatural. Right?
You are saying these are not stars.
No, it's one of the many possibilities it could be. It's open for interpretation. And who's doing this? It is God who is hurling these at the devil.
Are you saying stars are thrown at devils?
Guys, hold on. Let me finish.
Okay, we're running out of time. You are deflecting a lot. Can you clarify this?
You guys are interrupting me like every 5 seconds.
So these are clearly stars according to the Quran. What are they?
Again,
can I answer him? It could even be something we are not aware of, because lamps is not defined in the Quran as being anything. Now, people have, of course, said it could be this, it could be stars, it could be meteors, but the Quran doesn't define it.
So after 14 dodges, your 15th answer is to claim that the Quran doesn't define it because it uses a word which, to quote you, doesn't mean anything. Clearly, the word lamp does have a meaning, Nadir. You just don't want to say it.
I would like you to use precise scientific language. Are stars the thing that we're talking about? Are stars supernatural?
Okay, so I think what's happening here, I'm going to answer your question. If you talk about lamps, well, if you talk about stars, no, those are not supernatural. But let me just explain to you, what I think is happening here. I think it all goes back to the lack of documentation to show where it contradicts the Quran. So now you're trying to get me to talk. So, hey, look, I can find him. I can make him contradict himself. So you're hoping you can get some kind of win.
We're not trying to get you. I'm just trying to get the answer out of your mouth. The Quran says that Allah beautified the nearest heaven with lamps. Right. So it is describing something that beautifies the heaven of the earth, and also made of the missiles thrown at rebellious devils. To me, this is very clearly the stars. There is nothing else that beautifies the heaven.
All I need.
What exactly are these lamps?
So what you're doing, you're going after these ambiguous verses which have already been debunked, because science will never.
Look at the head roll from AP in that moment. Only 90 minutes of Nadir Ahmed can make somebody's body slump in despair like that.
Lamps can refer to anything. It could refer to stars, meteors.
Okay, so we're not
comets.
going to use any precise language. We're going to say something that can refer to anything.
Lamps is
So
not
the
a
furthest
precise
thing away
scientific
from
language.
precise language we can get.
Are you saying that these stars could also be used as weapons against rebellious devils? Is that what you're saying? Are you saying the lamps are stars?
Okay, so here's what I'm saying, okay? This verse, which we have seen here tonight, is in 100% agreement, in complete harmony with modern science. There is no contradiction between this verse or anything from the scientific community. I think what the problem here is, you find this as ridiculous, you find this as preposterous, and so because of that, you are now raising this issue, but it's off topic. And that's fine,
I think we have our answer. I think we have our answer.
You got your answer.
You saying the lamps could be anything in the universe, including everything we don't know, is not an answer, Nadir. What we got from you was 19 dodges in the space of just over 75 minutes, which averages once every 4 minutes. Why did you do this? I'll let AP explain.
Unfortunately, Nadir Ahmed has been unable to answer what these lamps here are, if they are not stars. This is because Nadir Ahmed cannot answer this question, because this question here directly, absolutely disproves the Quran's truth claim.